You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Across Wisconsin on Civic Media, you're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News. Now, from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Kreitlow.
Well, hey there, Wisconsin. Good morning. It is 6:06 on a Wednesday morning, November 26th, 2025, Thanksgiving Eve. I know that's not a real thing, but if we're going to have a New Year's Eve and a Christmas Eve, Halloween is All Hallows Eve, so why not? Thanksgiving Eve, Turkey Eve, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's a beautiful morning to have you here up north, live from Lake Wissota, from wherever you're spending your mornings listening across the Civic Media Radio Network or podcast or social media, however you got here. We appreciate it very much. I do say it's a beautiful morning up here on Lake Wissota. I always say that because it's always beautiful to be up here. But I'm also saying that from the great indoors, and I have never felt more spousal guilt right now than I do having the privilege of being able to work from home, to plod from bedroom to kitchen to home office. Let me look at my Apple Watch here. I've got about 6 steps in at this point. While other folks have to drive, please be very careful out there. Stay safe. If you don't have to go, maybe consider not, especially farther up north, where there is still a blizzard warning up in the Ashland area. Tell you all about that coming up. I do have a question for you. Are you still getting catalogs? I know we've talked about this a few times, but I want to know your input. What's something you still buy from a catalog? And again, maybe you probably just browse. I really doubt that anybody still rips the little form out of the middle of the catalog and in teeny tiny boxes puts in the catalog number and the size and the quantity and then puts it in that cheap envelope, with the glue, the little glue strip that tastes like the bottom of your shoe and mails. I'm sure that doesn't happen, but you still use it for browsing purposes, right? And then maybe you get a discount code that comes with the catalog. What's your experience with that? Because I'm still getting plenty of them here. Let's see, we got the latest ones include Harry and David and Swiss Colony, and Parker Olson's here producing things in Madison Studio A2 as I look through these things here. There he is now. I got a second Newski's catalog.
Oh, baby.
Already here.
The two-timer.
If you want bacon, you want ham. And apparently the folks at Usingers must have found out, because for the first time ever, I got a Usingers catalog.
Do you think that anyone has been listening to this show and knows that you're doing this and has thought, let's send Kreitlow a catalog?
I think these mailing lists just make the rounds everywhere. Trust me, I know as a former candidate, there's all sorts of mailing lists you can find. Speaking of meats, this one's not a catalog, but I got what looked like a holiday card in the mail. You open up this nice little envelope, and it's a postcard from is it Omaha Steaks? No, this is Kansas City Steak Company. Ooh. With a special offer for you. And
just for you?
I mean, just for you. And it's, got the little discount code on here. And let's see. You could get a box. Their big thing is a box that has 2 filet mignons, 2 sirloins, 2 ribeyes, 4 chicken breasts, 4 jumbo hot dogs, and some Kansas City steak seasoning shaker.
Wow.
All of that for only $139.99.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea if that's a bargain or not.
I feel like that might be.
I've never ordered meat through the mail before, so I can't.
Meat does sound concerning to me.
It does. Here though. This is the one. The Sharper Image catalog. The Sharper Image in Brookstone. The one with all the gadgets in here. The things that you didn't even know you need, and you know why? Because you don't need them. Yeah. There's the copper-lined socks are in here. There's a Disney Princess bilingual talking educational laptop.
That sounds
There's a Power Kitty smart robotic cat. See if I can get that in there. Did you know you needed a robotic cat?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they've been making those things since I was a kid.
Yep.
And I don't know if anyone's ever bought one.
No, and you know which one I want to know if it works or not, because I see it in every one of the catalogs, and I see it here as well, is it'll take your old photo negatives and digitize them.
Oh.
Now,
Nice.
For people Parker's age, when I say photo negatives, I mean that cameras once upon a time used film.
Yes.
When you developed the film, you would get this thing back called a negative, and you could make more prints off of them. And we have a fire safe. It used to keep a lot of valuable documents, but now, like, basically everything's in the cloud. The one thing that's definitely in our fire safe is a big box of negatives, all the photos we took from the pre-digital era. So from basically 2000 going back to the late 1960s are in there. I'd love to have those things digitized, but I'm afraid of paying for something that's just going to not work and break my heart. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But there's just so many gadgets, so many catalogs. So I'd kind of like to know, do you still use a catalog for your shopping? Do you have one that you're like, yep, I wait for that thing to arrive and I order stuff out of there? And you'll recall last week, I told you mine. There's one for Kringles. I think it's O&H out of Racine. I order Kringles out of there for some folks and send it your way.
That's a very good.
Related to that is this. And again, this is showing my age, but the old Sears catalog, the old J.C. Penney catalog, these things were as big as phone books. For people Parker's age and younger, phone books were these things that they published, and everybody's phone number was in it for a landline.
What's a landline?
For people Parker's age, a landline was a phone that was attached to the wall. Anyway, the Sears catalog, the J.C. Penney catalog around Christmas time, you get that Christmas catalog, and you'd be going through that thing looking for, and your parents would be like, okay, circle the things you want, and, including clothes and pajamas, not just the toys. And one of the things I've always said is that Sears and these other major retailers, they really had no business going out of business, because look at Amazon. Yeah. It started as a bookstore, and now it's got everything. And I don't know why Sears and the others didn't just kind of evolve that way. And you think, well, nobody does that. Well, I saw an example last night on the news. QVC. Now, I don't know who sits and watches QVC as a cable channel to buy things anymore.
My grandma.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if anybody does. But what have they figured out? Do you know why they're suddenly hot again? They're on TikTok.
Ooh.
So you just take all the same stuff, shall we say, and you aim it toward the youths that way, and they're getting orders again. And I look at like a Sears and I go, why didn't you just evolve with the times?
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't know, which kind of sucks.
Eli's feeling sympathy here on Facebook. Parker, you put up with so much. Yes, he does. And
you only see what happens on air.
This is so true. We really should make a podcast out of our off-air meetings. Roger says on Facebook, I get an occasional catalog from places I initially ordered from online. Yes, that's a good point. You order something online and suddenly now you're getting their catalog all the time. Again, not that you're going to order from the catalog, but you're going to use the catalog as, incentive to go to the website and get something there. So that's what we're wondering today is, do you do any of your shopping still out of a catalog? And you can also tell us, your recommendations, some that you have particularly good experience from. For example, for mine, so much of what I like in the Orvis catalog for men's clothing, I always like to see that. You may have something of a favorite of yours as well. We'd love to hear about catalogs today. All right, in the news, here's something we're going to talk about in a little bit. Are you familiar with the line, what's good for the goose is good for the gander? Or sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, however you use that saying. Today, we're going to talk about it in political karma. It might take 14 years, as it did with today's top story, but it's here now for the Republicans who rigged our state's congressional maps all those years ago. So you're going to want to stick around as we talk about that. In our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to State Senator Jeff Smith and Representative Christian Phelps, both of the Eau Claire area, both very involved in educational policy in the Wisconsin legislature. They heard us talking last week, two members of the Blue Ribbon Commission from 2017 on reforming school funding. A lot of good ideas in there, still sitting on the shelf. And they want to come in and say this in so many words. Those ideas can still be put into play. They can still be put into action. All you need is the political will in the legislature to do it, or perhaps you need a new legislature. So give a listen to their ideas, the things that they'd like to have done, and then assess whether your state assembly representative and state senator could be part of the solution, or if they insist on continuing to be part of the problem. All right, looking at the weather right now, and I wanted to put off talking about it, but I can't. I mean, the winds woke me up about 3:30 this morning. They were just howling. Here's some current conditions for a few places around Wisconsin. Here in the Chippewa Valley right now, it's 27 degrees. And again, disregard the temperatures because temps are going to drop like a rock from here on out, all through the Thanksgiving weekend. It's just going to be very, very cold. 27 right now, a northwest wind sustained at 20 with gusts to 37 miles an hour. It feels even more sometimes. It sounds like more sometimes. In La Crosse right now, 32 degrees, a west wind at 30, gusting to 41 with some light snow. Richland Center is also at 32, a northwest wind at 22, gusting to 38. Wisconsin Rapids, you're at 34 right now, a west wind at 10, gusting to 21, and you're still getting some light rain. It says here, based on where you are in this system as it spins all across Wisconsin right now. Oshkosh is at 34, and they only have cloudy skies and a southwest wind at 14 to 24 miles an hour. But then there's Ashland, and when asking about whether the snow fell, Tony puts up on YouTube, I think all of the snow fell. It might not be done yet from what I'm seeing here, because as of 3 a.m., the National Weather Service says a blizzard warning will remain in effect for Ashland and Iron counties until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Additional snow accumulations in the Hurley, Ashland, and other areas of 13 to 20 inches, except northern Iron County, where they're going to get 20 to 30 additional inches of snow. Wind gusts as high as 45 miles an hour. Now, they know that this stuff is coming. They thrive on the tourism, but it doesn't make it any less easy to have to drive through and everything. And Tony just puts up on YouTube, yay.
Yes, yay!
There are no exclamation points, so I don't know if it's a yay or if it's a yay, but
it's a yay for me. I like the snow.
You wouldn't mind getting 20 to 30 inches of snow right now?
After Thanksgiving, I would like that.
Okay.
I'll put that caveat on there.
Okay, fair enough. Alicia is here. Good morning, Alicia, and says, I still get the American Girl catalog. Oh, we used to get that all the time. Our two girls were so into American Girl, especially since one of them was named Samantha, so you know which doll that she had. And they loved those, and they loved the American Girl stores. And I think those are still around, right? They're just not as big as
American
they used
Girl
to be.
Stores?
Yeah.
I would assume.
I think that's still a thing.
I don't know.
And
I haven't been to them all.
And they really liked the books as well. So it wasn't just a toy thing, you know.
Sure.
All right. So coming up, we are going to be. Never mind. Alicia says, "Thank you, Parker, for volunteering to take care of my snow on my corner lot." Well, hey, if you like the snow, you got to like the shoveling. It's they got to go hand in hand, right?
I charge $20 an hour.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, so we're going to talk a bit about what the state Supreme Court decided to do next on congressional maps and potential redrawing of the lines. Also, the Secretary of the Navy is canceling a shipbuilding program that's going to have an impact on Fincantieri Marinette Marine. We're going to tell you all about that as well. Senator Tammy Baldwin not too happy about that development. So much more ahead. If you can't stick around, follow us by podcast. Head over to Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. From the heart of America's up north, live from Lake Wissota, thanks for making this the place to spend part of your Wednesday morning. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Ellie Bordeaux, our newsletter editor here at Up North News, will be joining us just after 7 o'clock this morning. So I'll just let you know in the meantime, you can sign up for her newsletter at upnorthnewswi.com. And then, of course, there's the Sunday morning politics newsletter I put together as well. Same website. Hit subscribe in the top banner and follow along. We'd love to have you. Well, this one was interesting. Late yesterday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ordered a pair of 3-judge panels to hear a pair of lawsuits that argue that our state's congressional maps should be redrawn because they unconstitutionally favor Republicans. In other words, they are gerrymandered. That is what the lawsuits allege. And the Supreme Court ordered 3-judge panels in each of these 2 lawsuits to hear the arguments. Now, let's just say there's a case to be made that these maps are rigged and gerrymandered. We are in a 50-50 state, and 75% of the seats are held by Republicans. 6 Republicans, 2 Democrats in a 50-50 state. Well, the conservative justices on the court, they howled. Republicans howled. But let me read the Associated Press copy on this, because the suits were brought by 2 different law firms. Law firms that brought the pending cases are arguing the cases should be heard by 3-judge panels, and here's the important part, as required under a 2011 law passed by the Republican-controlled legislature and signed by then-Governor Scott Walker. Any decisions of those panels can be appealed to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which is currently under Liberal control, 4-3. Now you're saying, okay, what's that about, the 3-judge panel, and what did Republicans do? Well, in this story from Wisconsin Public Radio, after Republicans won control of the Assembly, the Senate, and the governorship in 2010, they changed the rules because they did not like that gerrymandering cases could be brought to a single judge in Dane County. Why are these suits filed in Dane County? Because that's where the state capital is. And they didn't like that. They wanted it the opportunity for judges all over the state who might be more conservative to hear these cases. And so they said, nope, we're changing the rules. Can't do it with just 1 judge in Dane County. It's got to go to a 3-judge panel controlled by the Supreme Court. And since we control the Supreme Court, conservatives said, we're good to go with all this. Having no idea that 14 years later, political karma would kick in, it's now progressives that control the state Supreme Court. And what did they do? They followed the law as written by Republicans and Scott Walker when they just thought they'd be in control forever and appointed a couple of 3-judge panels. Now, conservatives are unhappy with how the judges were picked. But how do you think those judges would have been picked if conservatives were still controlling the Wisconsin Supreme Court? Again, sauce for the goose, sauce for the gander. So now we'll let these 3-judge panels determine things, and then the Wisconsin Supreme Court can take a crack at it. There is absolutely no guarantee that this thing will be moving along fast enough and decided in a way that changes the lines. If you had to put money down right now, I'd say that the congressional lines are not going to change. But, as Alicia says so well on YouTube, I get to say, I told you so when they were changing those rules. And that's exactly it. And you think at the time, like, okay, well, you won. You get to change the rules as to how these lawsuits are heard. But at some point, it's going to come back to bite you. And so many politicians cannot think past the next election and just do what's in it for them. And then they want to just howl when things go against them because pendulums swing. That's how this works. And that's how this is working right now. Another late development, this one coming from the Secretary of the Navy. The Secretary has decided to kill the remaining frigate program that involved a lot of ships that were scheduled to be built at Fincantieri Marinette Marine. So far, 2 of these Constellation-class frigates are under construction. There are supposed to be at least 4 more. Originally, 20 of these Constellation-line frigates had been proposed, but it has become seemingly a master class in bureaucracy because these frigates, and by the way, a frigate, I've only learned this by doing the story. A frigate is something that's larger than a combat ship, but smaller than a destroyer. And they're trying to right-size, the Navy's fleet to keep up with China. China is on track to have well over 400 ships at sea, and the Navy at this point has a little over 200 of these types of ships. So the Navy picked a design that was put forward by Fincantieri Marinette Marine as the parent for what would become this new class of frigate ships. And they thought, okay, we're going to take this original design and we'll maybe have to update it by about 15%, to accommodate all the different needs. Well, there were a lot of cooks in that kitchen. And instead of a 15% redesign, it turned into an 85% redesign. And so now the Navy Secretary is canceling it. And Senator Tammy Baldwin is none too happy. She is blasting the plan in the sense that, again, now we're going backwards in building up our shipbuilding capacity to keep up with China. Now, up in Marinette, they're saying they probably won't have to do any layoffs because they have other orders coming in and they'll be okay. The trick is whether the Navy turns this around fast enough to get back into the shipbuilding business. And I am not one to give the Trump administration the benefit of the doubt. But in this particular case, if the Constellation line was this far bogged down, then it's clear something needed to change. I don't know if this was the right change to make. I'm encouraged that there hasn't been word that there's going to be layoffs necessary in Marinette, but we also can't dawdle on this. We talked to Tom Nelson about this earlier. America's shipbuilding is sorely behind, and we have got to get caught up. Today's history lesson is on the way, including a little quiet riot on your Wednesday morning. I'm Pat Kreitlow from Up North News. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
It's time once again for today's history lesson on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
It's one small step for man.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This depression is going to be so great. We'll be the ones eating the cats and the dogs. That's going to be fun.
Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
Who needs coffee when you've got Tina Turner, born this day in 1939? Tina Turner was born on November 26, 1939, born Anna Mae Bullock in Brownsville, Tennessee. Passed away, now 2.5 years ago at the age of 83. Tina Turner, born this day 86 years ago. Parker, we do this generational thing all the time, and this time I promise you, I'm not saying it in a teasing way. Have you ever seen Casablanca? The movie. Humphrey Bogart.
No.
Ingrid Bergman. Okay.
No.
Remember how much I went on yesterday about Percy Sledge and When a Man Loves a Woman, and it was just one of those great, romantic. Okay.
Yes.
Casablanca, from a movie standpoint,
Sure.
it holds up.
Okay.
Put it on your list. In fact, move it way up on the list, and that way you can really appreciate things like this movie from the song, because Casablanca premiered on this day in 1942.
You must remember this, a kiss is just a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh.
Play it again, Sam. Again, Casablanca premiered this day, 1942. On this day in 1917, the National Hockey League was formed with 4 teams, including the Montreal Canadiens and a Toronto team, later christened the Maple Leafs. The NHL then expanded into the United States in 1924 with the founding of the Boston Bruins. So those 3 teams, plus the New York Rangers, Detroit Red Wings, and Chicago Blackhawks, made up the so-called Original Six. Okay. And that's all the NHL was until 1967.
I was very confused for a minute there because I was like, wait a minute, formed with 4 teams. But there's an original 6.
Right.
Why isn't it the original 4?
Right, and a couple kind of fell by the wayside, and then the U.S. teams came on board here. So, on this day in 1955, the number one song was by Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Muscle and blood and skin and bones, a mind that's weak and a back that's strong. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper.
I know folks who've been regular listeners have heard this story before, but Tennessee Ernie Ford sang at my high school prom, along with Florence Henderson, the mom from the Brady Bunch, because, our prom was at the old Carlton Celebrity Dinner Theater, and so we had to sit in the main dinner theater to get your meal, which is where all the old folks were watching Tennessee Ernie Ford and Florence Henderson. Then we went down the hall for a heavy metal band. Our class hired a heavy metal band to play at our prom.
What a range.
I did not stay, mostly because my girlfriend had dumped me the week earlier, but we decided to go to prom anyway because we'd already paid for the dress and the tux. So, great night. Tennessee Ernie Ford, Florence Henderson, and an ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
I actually know people that have worse prom stories than that. But
sure.
It's got to be on the list for some folks when they go, oh yeah, that's one.
Going with my ex because we already bought the clothes.
Because we already bought the tickets. Yep. Born this day in 1876, Willis Carrier of Carrier Air Conditioning fame, an engineer who helped invent the modern-day air conditioner. Born this day in 1948 in St. Louis, the late Gail McCormick. She was the lead singer for a group named Smith that should have had more hits than just this one, but just this one is enough from Gail McCormick. To see just this little blonde white girl from St. Louis blasting this out, look at it on video, and then look at the Wikipedia entry, and you'll see that growing up in St. Louis, she was part of the high school choir, and her musical influences were Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin, and Gladys Knight.
Okay, that makes a lot
And she, honest to God, should have had more hits, but the group kind of broke up, and then she tried to change her musical direction a bit. But what a voice!
Yeah.
On Gail McCormick, who passed away in 2016 at the age of 67. The Smiths hit Baby It's You, a remake of a Shirelles record. She was born this day in 1948, and that was a 1969 remake there. John McVie of Fleetwood Mac is 80 years old today. DJ Khaled is 50 years old today. Happy birthday to Natasha Bedingfield as well. Natasha Bedingfield is 44 years old today, a native of West Sussex, England. On this day in 1983, Quiet Riot's Mental Health, not mental health, Quiet Riot's Metal Health became the first heavy metal album to reach number 1 on the album charts. So when people say, Pat, you had a heavy metal band at your 1982 prom?
It was this band.
It was nothing but hair bands back then. I mean, the tamest of them was Loverboy, and then it just went on from there. Quiet Riot and all the rest of them, Whitesnake, and on they go. So again, first heavy metal album to be number 1 on the album charts, Quiet Riot, this day in 1983. All right, let's take a look at what's on the National Day calendar for this day before Thanksgiving. Is this one for real?
These two are both real, and I think that it's wild. So it is Anti-Obesity Day.
Today is Anti-Obesity Day, the day before Thanksgiving. Forgive the naughty language. What the hell were you people thinking? Are you like, oh, it's Anti-Obesity Day, so be sure you behave yourself tomorrow. Who's doing that? Honest. I mean, anti-obesity day, that's January 1st. That's New Year's Day, the resolutions and everything else. But, okay, fair enough. Bring the stretch pants tomorrow, but then that's it. Then it's anti-obesity day.
It is also hand in hand with anti-obesity day. It is National Cake Day.
Well, like the band, short skirt, long jacket?
No, I don't think so.
Cake, like chocolate cake and birthday cake. Why cake day on the day before Thanksgiving?
I don't know. That feels very summery, cake.
It really does. I really question that. We need to find what is the governing body of these calendars, you know? I mean, they kind of strike me as like expert witnesses. In the old Don Henley lyric, I'm an expert witness because I say I am, you know? We're a holiday just because we say so.
Sure.
Oh, well.
Why not?
All right. What else is on the calendar for today?
It is also National Jukebox Day.
Jukebox Day. I love jukebox. That to me was like one of my indulgent, guilty pleasures. Like if I had like unlimited funds, there would definitely be a jukebox in my basement. And I've got a neighbor who has a jukebox in the basement.
Oh, cool.
And of course you could, when you could fit them with CDs. And you thought, oh, well, this is the ultimate. And now, of course, you have these digital jukeboxes, the most well-known is TouchTunes, where you don't even have to go up to the jukebox. You play it off your phone. Yeah. I mean, there doesn't even really need to be a box on the wall. It can just be, hey, we have TouchTunes here. Play a song off your phone.
Yeah.
But there was really something cool if you could have a jukebox in your home to play whatever music you want.
That would be really cool. I will say
that would have been cool.
TouchTunes, I will say, as someone who went to a college whose dining halls had TouchTunes.
Uh-oh.
Horrible idea. I do not condone TouchTunes. Horrible tunes.
Tell you what, where it comes in handy is a little not so subtle sports warfare, shall we say. We happen to have a friend who would come in and play. What's the Bear Down Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Because you can play pretty much anything. If it's on the internet, you can play it through these digital jukeboxes. And so whenever he'd show up at the bar, he'd start the Bear Down Chicago Bears thing, and people would be like, "Woo!" And like the third time he did it, I was ready. Immediately following that was the Bears still suck.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that became his walk-up music whenever he walked into the place. And then we finally agreed on a truce. Although he at one point told me how much money he puts into TouchTunes because he's a very social creature.
No. Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, if you had to, again, we've removed the friction. It's one thing if you have to walk up and put a quarter in, or later on put a dollar bill in.
Sure.
When it's just tapping your phone screen, that adds up real quick.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That worries me a little.
So National Jukebox Day, which is funny because, again, my computer right here, it's a jukebox. It'll play anything I want it to, and yet I still think it would be really cool to have a jukebox. Yeah. So there you go. I'm sure that's in that Sharper Image catalog somewhere for me. So
Actually,
somebody get it for me, and then I'll have it, and then after a day I'll be like, I don't really need this.
No, I have a speaker.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the smart speakers. Alexa, play this, or what's the Siri, or whatever. Sorry if I said
for listeners at home. Please tell us if Pat just set off your Alexa.
Didn't mean to do that. Although I've never really liked that because I had a nephew that was. I still have a nephew, but he's grown up a little bit since then. But he'd do the now I'm really, Alexa, play fart noises, and we'd all
I thought,
come on. Then we'd have to reset it and everything.
Yeah.
So,
I see people that say, Alexa, buy me 700 stuffed giraffes.
Oh, sure.
That's a good use of money.
I'm just going to watch the comment section here for somebody's going to swear at you real soon in a second here, but hopefully we did none of that. So, all right. Let's see. Anything else on the National Day calendar?
It is National What Do You Love About America Day.
What do you love about America Day?
Yes, I am surprised.
Again, on the day before Thanksgiving.
On the day before Thanksgiving, a question is the day. Yes.
What do you love about America Day? It just seems like there's other places, not just the 4th of July, but, Flag Day and other places where you could put that.
We have many national, national holidays, for lack of a better term.
Right.
You would have thought that it would be on one of those. Yeah.
You would have, but okay. Well, give it some consideration. What do you love about America? Hey. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. While you all think about that, and you know what, we already have a question of the day out there of what you get out of catalogs for Christmas time. But if you want to answer that one as well, what do you love about America? Send it on in. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842, or anything else that happens to be on your mind today, including the weather. I know Roger said he stepped outside, puts on Facebook, just stepped outside, 32 degrees, wind about 20 miles an hour, drizzling.
That's what you
call
gross.
Glad he went right back inside to type that to us, and hopefully not have to go back out. If by chance you got to send the kids out, boy, I'm sure you know this already, but bundle them up good, and keep that in mind because it's only going to get colder from here for the next several days. Senator Jeff Smith and Representative Christian Phelps are coming up in our 7 a.m. hour, along with newsletter editor Ellie Bordeaux from Up North News. I'm Pat Kreitlow. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Wait, you're messing with my head here. This is usually my walk-up music on another program. I'm waiting for Jane Mattineer to say, good morning and welcome back. Here that was Pat Kreitlow. I don't know why they play yacht rock tunes when I come on board, but
yeah, no, it's so weird.
I know. Anyway, there's some sports on the radio here coming up tomorrow on Thanksgiving. That would be the Packers versus the Lions. Pregame starts at 10 a.m. on stations in Richland Center, Park Falls, Wautoma, and Racine, Kenosha. And then there's also Badger men's basketball coming up tomorrow. Badgers versus Providence. Coverage begins at 2:30 on stations in Wisconsin Rapids, Amory, Richland Center, and Ironwood, Michigan. And then you've got the Badger Gopher football game coming up Saturday. Pre-game begins at 12:30 on several Civic Media stations. And, maybe I want you to listen to the radio, but you might want to keep an eye on the TV. Maybe there'll be a Dr. Kristen Lyerly sighting. Maybe she'll have found a way to finagle her way back into the Goldie Gopher mascot costume again.
Well, how will we know it's her?
Oh, at some point she'd have to give a sign.
That's true.
I don't know if can you pull your head off in a wave? I suppose they don't allow that for the mascots.
So. Yeah.
All right. Well,
usually if that happens, the mascot covers their head and runs as fast as possible away.
Yep. Although she, if I remember right, she said she thought that she was the originator of the spinning the head. She would spin her head around and at hockey games.
Yeah.
Go for hockey games, and the crowd would really get into it. And apparently now other people have also taken credit for being the mascot that started the head spin, but she thinks it was her.
That sounds like the most mascot beef of all
mascot
time.
Beef.
That is so.
Who did the Exorcist thing first with their head? All right. What do we have for entertainment news here?
On entertainment news today, Mr. Kreitlow, Joey. It is a spinoff of Friends, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember it barely. Don't know if I ever watched it. But,
that's because it was canceled midway through one of its seasons.
Okay.
It was not getting great ratings, and the finale was never aired because it was canceled mid-season.
Oh, my.
So the final 8 episodes of the spinoff Joey is now available on the Friends YouTube channel.
Wow.
So if you were really, really wishing that you got to see the end of that spinoff, which apparently was not good.
So I see here now some international fans were able to watch the full 2 seasons in their countries, including the UK, but it was never available on American television because Matt LeBlanc's series got canceled midway through season 2. I didn't remember that at all. That's funny. In related news, though, this is more of a sequel. Is it a sequel if they come back? No, it's a reboot. That's what they call it. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy to tell you there's a reboot in the works. Scrubs is coming back for a reboot, or as TV Line puts it on their website, the Eagle is coming in for a landing. And you have to be a Scrubs fan to know what we're talking about. ABC yesterday, I saw this and I was just like, Are you serious? ABC yesterday released the first promo for the highly anticipated Scrubs revival. The initial teaser had a series retrospective, culminated in a brief glimpse of JD and Turk doing their signature eagle. It shows JD and Turk and all the regulars returning, Zach Braff, Donald Faison, Sarah Chalk, as they walk their way through OG Sacred Heart Hospital before confronting a gaggle of newbies. Yes, Dr. Cox will be there, recurring guest star John C. McGinley. And then, of course, without missing a beat, Carla, again, fellow recurring guest star Judy Rise, will appear and urge Perry to leave Bambi alone. We watched Scrubs so much. Now, of course, that might have had something to do with the fact that, we were going through, Sherry's medical residency at the time. And it's, they're not a match for match, but when you see the little things where they did their homework to make it, somewhat closer to being realistic, plus it was just a really funny show.
Sure. I saw that they had, on Big Bang Theory, they had like one or two people who were actually like physicists that would put stuff on their whiteboards to make it look like legit and that they weren't just like making stuff up.
No, I love when they do that. And so you'll have the old cast there. You'll have a bunch of newbies. I guess there will be some other folks in, like they've listed here, Vanessa Bayer, who you might remember from Saturday Night Live. Let's see. And then a whole bunch of others. Okay. I'm too old. I don't know any of these names, but people will come in and see what is happening when it is back on Wednesday, February 25th. At 7:00. It will be on ABC and then stream the next day on the Hulu. So there you go. I am one happy little Scrubs watcher. Let's see. Let me go over to YouTube. Tony puts amazing. He says, I think almost all of them are back too. He says, I've seen every episode so many times. Yep. Same. So that's great. Okay. Let's see. Did I leave you time for anything else here?
Yeah, we got a little bit of time here. Kevin Spacey, he's not homeless. Despite fans' concern, a recent The Telegraph article had a misleading headline where he was saying that he moves around a lot. He goes to where the work is rather than have a permanent home. And the headline made people think he was just homeless.
Oh, okay.
So, now you know.
Yeah. Well, look, again, he has spent a lot of time defending himself from allegations of sexual assault by a fellow actor. And, he did have to sell his home in Baltimore and talked about it tearfully to Pierce Morgan at one point. So I can see where people would have thought that. And it's again, one of those cases where you don't want to necessarily give the guy a break if, depending on what he really did in his personal life.
Yeah.
But I did see something recently that he starred in. I wish I could remember off the top of my head now what it is. And you're just thinking, I really liked that guy. He was really talented in some of these roles.
Yeah.
And now he's got, basically his own personal battles to deal with of some sort or another, but not homeless.
Not homeless. No.
So we've got that going for us. Hey, we've got a late edition as a guest. I put out a call to Tom Nelson, the Outagamie County executive, about this news that the frigate shipbuilding at Fincantieri Marinette Marine is going to be halted, and get his thoughts on it based on a book he recently wrote about the Edmund Fitzgerald and shipbuilding in the U.S. So Tom Nelson at 8:35. I'm Pat Kreitlow. You're up north.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.